What do? What it do? Just gonna give a second for potential audiences to come in. I'll build this stuff right here. Shaking my little spice right here. Spicy tobacco. My tobacco spice. Not really, you get the point. I'm using vague, subtle synonyms. I'm watching a live stream of the Kilauea lava flow activity in the lower Puna, Hawaii. I didn't even realize there was a live stream of it, and holy shit, man. Might as well just start with this, because, I mean, I'm just watching the live stream, so I'll pull it up. But before we do that, I might as well give it a little bit more time, see who comes by, see who doesn't, you know, etc., etc. See if YouTube will allow people to come say hello. Fucking YouTube. I mean, you're not missing anything. The camera, someone's fucking with the camera though at the moment on the live stream. But I'm still perfectly able to see this volcano right now. It's just going and going and going right now, man. Kind of need to. It's honestly. I'll get into it in a sec.
Yeah.
Man, it just keeps going.
Sure.
I mean, that's the crazy thing. This volcano is just consistently erupting currently. And it's just launching all of this lava out. Just, like, how high is that? Like, what was the description said something about this camera being where it's at. Half a mile from the fissures, 20 and 17. So there's multiple fissures, it looks like. And this is a half mile away. So this shit is going like at least 100 feet in the air. Oh man, dude. I would not want to be there. I feel my sympathies go out to Hawaii, man. I don't want to be there. I love Hawaii. It's such a beautiful land, but I could never live there. I don't want to live there. I would love to visit multiple times throughout my life, but I just couldn't live there. Because these volcanoes, I mean, imagine how much it just fucks with their life, you know what I mean? I mean, people's homes just melt away and just burn away because of this lava flows, and they can't do anything about it, you know? They just gotta sit and let it happen. And if they're lucky enough, they might be able to save some of their most important and most beloved belongings, but, you know, I mean, some people don't get that chance. People get misplaced and have to find new homes. And, you know, if I was there, or like where this camera is, I just wouldn't leave. I would just, you know, I'd just be watching this forever. I could, honestly. Hey, quit fucking up the camera, whoever's doing this live stream. I want to watch this. Quit bonking over the lens. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Alright, well, I'm gonna get started here. People will show up as they come and go. Or just not come or go. Whichever. It's fine. I do these streams with or without people. I'm actually not going to wear my glasses. I'll just put them on my hat. Found a way to put it in my hat without it falling out. If it wants to fucking fit. Get in there, bitch. There we go. There we go. Right-ito. Yeah, here, let me show you really quick, man. This is crazy. Crazy. Wow, I had a troll face when that happened. I mean, look at that. That's like up to 100 feet in the fucking air, man. I mean, look at that. I mean, what can you even say about that, man? It's crazy. And welcome, welcome, man. Welcome, welcome. You really didn't miss much. I've just been just waiting for like 5 minutes, you know, just kind of chit-chatting. I do too. I mean, this is like a mixture of just like shock and awe, you know what I mean? Like, this is like, because I'm shocked because, you know, people, you know, suffer because of this, you know. Some people probably die, you know, and a lot of people get misplaced and shit, but, you know, this is just nature at work. This is just what nature does, and it's just, you know, it's just the way the earth works. I mean, look at that, man. Look how high all that goes. Like, that's so magnificent and just so, like, this is just essentially rock, just straight molten rock, just launching in the air, and it just keeps going and going. Like, wow, you know, man, you know, it would be one hell of a thing to see this in person. It'd be one hell of an experience. I mean, wow. Like, I don't even know where the height. Wow, that's probably the highest was right there, just right there and there. Wow. Yeah, like, imagine if this, like, a little drop of this touched you. Like, I wonder what would happen. Would it just, like, burn right through and just leave, like, a tunneled hole of molten rock, basically? I mean, I don't want that to happen to me, of course, but, I mean, it will essentially just, yeah, like, it seems like it just worked like a vaporizer, just utterly vaporize and just go right through you like it's some sort of acid or something, you know? Like, for all intents and purposes, this is practically like acid, you know, being dropped on you. Only it's hot as fuck, but, you know, at that point, pain is the only thing you're experiencing, so that's what you get, you know? Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, then there won't be any more Ignar. Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was a kid, there was this movie, Volcano, that it was... Honestly, I look back at this movie now, and it's the most cheesiest, freaking ridiculous movie ever. I mean, because there isn't really that many good Volcano movies, and we had Volcano, and I remember when I was a little kid, this one scene scared the utter shit out of me, and I think this is why I have such a problem with fire, and, you know, I don't have a problem with, like, lava or shit, but... Like, when it comes to being, like, burnt alive or, you know, acid or some shit, you know, like, you're basically having to deal with burns, you know, as you die. Like, no. Because I remember in one scene, this dude, you know, one of the, you know, public workers of the city, essentially, was trying to rescue people inside a train in one of the subway trains. And there was lava seeping out through that. And I was just like, holy shit, man. And then, like, the boots are essentially melting on his feet and melting to, like, the metal plates because the lava's right below this train. And then he had to, like, and then it was to the point he couldn't even jump across. So what he did was sacrificed himself, jumped into the lava and, you know, pushed the dude to safety who he was rescuing. And he basically melted and burned away into, like, a ball of fire. And as a kid, that scared the fuck out of me. Like, I was traumatized from that shit. I haven't seen that movie in forever, and I still remember that scene. I mean, it's a ridiculous, cheesy movie. Like, I've seen it a while back before, and I'm just like, damn, this movie's cheesy as fuck. I mean, but it's not a bad film at all. Like, I mean, I'm pretty critique on films, but that film's okay, you know? I can appreciate it. Oh, wait, my American flag's upside down? Yeah, because, I learned that if you have an American flag upside down, that essentially means that this location or the country's in distress, or it's like an SOS, essentially. It's meant to say, hey, there's Americans that need help here, or something like that. So I do that symbolically, considering our, you know, situation, you know, going on in the country and the world in general. So that's why I have it upside down, is more symbolism towards how it is. Because, I didn't flip it until around, like, 2016, I think, probably, just because at that point I knew who was winning the generals and stuff like that. So I'm like, you know, you're fucked. You know, we're in some, you know, dark times now. So I flipped it upside down, and it was just like, nah, I can't be dealing with this. But yeah, I mean, this volcano though, It's crazy. I mean, it looked like it simmered down a little bit there, but yeah, it's going into some crazy shit. But I have some other stuff pulled. What the hell? Okay. This is one video I pulled. I was like, what was that picture? Didn't remember it. But going through a bunch of just random variety of different things. But I'm gonna mute this because I might just watch that later, to be honest with you, because that's really interesting shit. I didn't know there was a live stream of that. But I have so many different random videos. I need to see which one. Might as well just go on to a different random thing. So, just a random little video before, you know, just bullshit before we continue on. But I was recommended another weird, ridiculous video, and it's a water tower collapsing. And to be honest, I never knew how a water tower was brought down or whatever. And it's, to be honest, uneventful, but it leaves a loud thunk, and it's somewhat strangely satisfying to watch. I'm just gonna pull it real quick. I can't wait until I get, you know, the podcast right, because then I don't have to do this shit. I could just pull it on the screen and just pop it up, but this is just highly uneventful. But it's satisfying. Damn. I mean, that left a thunk. I mean, talk about a band hammer. Damn. Imagine if someone was under that. Holy sh... Wasn't as eventful. Yeah, I even mentioned it in the comments. Wasn't as eventful as Oh, did you shave or something? You look whiter today. Actually, yeah, I did. I did shave a little bit. All I did was just shave a little bit of my sides down, and just got rid of some just splotches that were just annoying the fuck out of me. But it makes a bang when it hits. Yeah, but new way to make the sandcastle moot. Yeah, imagine if it fell on that rock pile. I wish that rock pile was right below that. I wanted to see that just go boom and just like just pebbles and rocks and just shit flying everywhere. That would be funny. That would be actually kind of hilarious to watch. I would love that. But unfortunately, that did not happen. I wish it did, though. Now that I'm thinking about that, I wish that pile of rocks was under it, because that would be funny to watch go just explode everywhere. I remember me and my friends will go out in the middle of the night whenever we're hanging out and shit, and we will find these like rock piles near like railroads and shit, and we'll play King of the Hill on them for some stupid reason, and just try to push each other and wrestle each other off these hills and shit. And I was just like, it's fun, but it can be slightly injuring, especially if they're big and sharp and shit. But yeah, I'm just like, oh my lord. So yeah, let me so now that we got that out of the way, we might as well pull up a news story that isn't like major shit. It's actually kind of it's like irrelevant to like major news and stuff, but it's about Elon Musk and his transit tunnels, or his hyperloops, or I think, yeah, the hyperloop that he's trying to do in LA. And as much as I love Elon, I mean, come on, man, this is a little bit of a ridiculous thing. I mean, stick to space. But I'll get into what it is in a sec, because this guy goes into some major detail about what's it called, I just blinked. How did I blink like that? Oh my god, what the fuck? Anyway, there's not much to see really, but oh, I remember. So this guy is mainly a scientist of sorts, and he loves to go into a lot of like the details of like certain stuff that is science related, which of course this hyperloop ball is one of his many things.
His plan is
that is quiet.
He's going to start digging holes in the ground and turn those holes.
Hold up, let me just speed this a little up. A little bit. And turn
into
it
a vast
down.
network of underground tunnels that will change transportation forever.
Let's talk about technology. All right. Because I know all of y'all are fans of it. We have some big news in the tech world. And innovation icon, Elon Musk. More proof that Elon Musk's dreams are supersonic.
Sure, can hardly wait to provide this.
Okay, so it just showed the Hyperloop here really quick. It will show it again, so next time it pops up, which will be in a second, I'll pop it over, let you see what this whole Hyperloop thing is supposed to be.
Elon Musk is making headway on his future Traffic.
Here's stuff in the structure. Yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's so hard to believe this project is almost finished. Yeah. Right? Also getting a look at the high-tech tunnel.
There you go. So that's the hyper. Here, I'll speed it back to normal just so we can kind of get a better premise, because that speed is not accurate. Here, let me just skip back a couple seconds. Here we go.
Tech tunnel under Los Angeles. Some say wouldn't happen.
Musk shared this video of his underground tunnel in Los Angeles. Evidence that is
apparently this is supposed to go like how fast? I don't even know how fast. Like a couple 100 miles an hour or something like that, or 100 miles an hour or something. And it's like these don't look very stable, especially if you're doing it at like 1 mile and you're supposed to go super high speeds. It's like
this high-speed railway project is nearly complete. The 3 miles of track able to move cars and people at speeds of up to 800 miles per hour.
It's amazing. And in that post, he shows that stretch of the new tunnel and also offers free rides to the public in as soon as a few months, pending approvals from inspectors.
I just want to know how many accidental wrecks trying to go, 800 miles an hour. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's not going to be possible. I love Musk in many ways, but I try to stay principled in my own, reality. So I'm just like, come on. How is something like that, especially in these little tunnel areas, meant to go from 0 to 800 in like, in a couple seconds and then stop on a dime, basically? It's like, yeah. Could be there for dinner and set an extra dinner plate. I will do. But oh my God. It's like, come on. What are you doing? What are you doing, good sir? I mean, that won't, it's not physically possible to go from like 0 to 800 really quickly and then stop on a dime at these things while transporting a vehicle. Like, the whole concept of it would work if it wasn't so fast, like 800 miles an hour I can see. I can kind of see that. Maybe 50, but not 800. Like, if you're making a tight turn or something in these little tunnels and you're going 800 miles an hour, who's not to say that thing's just going to go flipping and then go tumbling and making a big crash in these tunnels or something? Like, I mean, the guy who's posted this video, Thunderfoot, actually hasn't even started talking, and I'm already just kind of making my own presumptions of what could happen. But he kind of goes into more detail, which I don't think he even brings up that specific point of like, it could cause big crashes, but it is unsafe for sure, which he does bring that up, I think. It's a whole 16-minute video. We're probably not going to get through the whole thing, just like the main... It's just like this whole main thing, essentially, is just kind of what it is that I'm
800
talking
miles
about.
an hour. Yeah. I mean, this could change
Good morning, America!
forever. And you could soon hitch a ride in Elon Musk's first traffic tunnel. Now, he posted this time-lapse video of this demo tunnel overnight. This is reportedly in Hawthorne in a SpaceX parking lot. Now that it's almost done, Musk says
he has one of these tunnels already built in at like the SpaceX HQ, I think, or something like that, or it's his this is where his business is at, and it's just like, okay, well, at half a mile, how are you going to be able to test 800 miles per hour with these hyperloops and stuff with half a mile? Come on. I mean, he's super ambitious. I mean, he really is an ambitious mofo. Like, I can definitely say that for sure. Though in a lot of ways, it's just like, I mean, you're pushing where you probably shouldn't be pushing. Like, I feel like he should be paying more attention for his SpaceX project, especially with these Falcon 9 rockets, because of how successful those have been. I mean, it's not like he hasn't done it before already, because Thunderfoot actually even gets to that as well, because we've also had rockets prior in like the early 90s that can do that. I might as well go into that little part. Let me find it. Let me try to see where it could possibly be. Unless maybe it's not this video. Oh, yeah, it is this video. Okay. I just want to make sure. Here we go.
And even at that, he's years behind schedule. And still
so here's footage of that rocket right here.
Cost effective, which in practical terms means that, seeing as people who launch their stuff on rockets don't want them blown up.
So that's what it looks like, which is kind of cool. I mean, we've already been doing this technology for 2 decades at least.
Which is more reliable.
2.5 decades, give or take.
Maybe you make it cheaper.
And probably we've been doing it for far longer than that.
But the jury is
Look at
still
that.
out on if
This
you
goes
can
right
do
back
it
down.
or not. And given the hype of most
Yep.
of Elon
There's
Musk's
a little
predictions,
landing stick.
let's just say I'm skeptical about it. For me, I find some of the unquestioning
Yeah.
hype around Elon
So-
Musk just kind of a sad indictment.
So he did get into that part, which is cool because I didn't even know that myself. Like I didn't even realize that we've already been doing this type of technology because NASA had funded that particular project. Though it canceled because the thing toppled over during one landing and exploded. So it was an unfortunate event that probably. I mean, it did definitely go help us farther in the future, and then of course, you know, helped out Elon Musk's research with his Falcon 9 rockets, and because essentially the main research done for those type of rockets has already succeeded. Though that particular rocket did not go into space; it was Earth orbit only, because it was still doing tests, and I think it wasn't meant to go in space. Basic formula: what comes up must come down. Speaking of Trump. Uh-oh. Yeah, I've been seeing you guys have a little talk in there. I haven't, just because I have so many other stories, and a lot of it is kind of news related at the moment. I didn't get into it, though I will probably bring them back up later. But, yeah, I'm gonna kind of continue on with this part just for now, because after this, then we're getting into, some of the other stories. Let me organize really quick. I'm just getting all like uppity-appity with my organization. My OCD's acting up. I'm triggered. My OCD. My OCD's triggered. I'm kidding. Anyway, I'll continue on with this now. Stop fucking around.
Of modern journalism.
Let me go back, actually, so he brings up some of the main points.
Single passenger vehicle.
Let me skip all their news bullshit. We already heard of basic whatever.
All in Hawthorne.
Well,
here.
Well, folks, amazing news this week. Elon Musk has invented an entirely new mode of transport called the tunnel, and it's got over 2.5 million hits on Instagram. You know, they get the most hate these days off of the Elon Musk videos. And as a general rule, the crazier the Elon Musk idea being...
Hold up. I'm going to bring the stream up on my computer so I can see the chat better, because it keeps disappearing. Because I keep seeing a lot of conversing. Need to just have it right here so I can... Oh, shit. Need to just have it... Pause myself. I don't need to hear myself. Mute that. Give your opinion on Lil Tay. I actually don't know of Lil Tay, though I'll probably look him up, since I don't really have too many stories, so we should, and if we fly by them, then I'll look it up, see who that person is.
Criticize, the more vicious the response.
Because I can't give an opinion on someone I don't know about, as you know.
To his wonderful idea of using rockets to transport people around the world, which is a fine idea if you can make rockets about 100 times cheaper to run and about 1,000,000 times safer. Then sure, it would be comparable to plane flight, only about 10 times quicker. The thing is that making it 100 times cheaper and 1,000,000 times more reliable isn't that easy. It's like saying I'm going to make a car within a year or two that's going to get 5,000 miles to the gallon and only need its oil changed every 3 billion miles. And a lot of folks don't seem to realize that a lot of Elon Musk's great ideas aren't even his.
Okay, alright. I said fucking and looked her up, or him up, I don't know. And, it's a rapper. Songs. Freak Bitch. Somebody Loves You, No Days Off, and 25 more. Well, it's just another little... Who's a rapper, basically. You got Lil Tay, Little Pump, Little Pump and Dump. It gave me like a fat list of littles. Little Uzi, Little Dicky, Little Peep, Little Xan, Little Pump, Little Skies. Like, how many fucking littles do we need in the rap world? So, I mean, I don't really listen to rap, and if I do, it's generally underground or classical, or I want to say classical rap, like older raps, like from the 90s and late 80s and stuff like that. Or like early 2000s too. I mean, I don't really listen to much of modern rap, so I mean... that's about as far as my opinion will probably go. And I probably would not like the music, just considering that it's another little and probably super highly produced. Record labels. Literally, one of them is just Little Tay, Money Tay is the best. That's not a record label. What fucking... Why is that a record label? That can't... How... Why is that... Oh my god. Okay, well, I'm not delving into that rabbit hole. I'm getting out of that rabbit hole.
Take, for instance, the Hyperloop, which is an idea that's been kicking around for at least 100 years. All Elon...
Oh, well... I'm European, doesn't like rap. I mean, there is generally some, like, for example, one good rap artist, well, I mean, they're not, like, pure rap. I mean, what they mainly are is, it's like a genre called rap metal. And, I would say that a really good example would either be, the Prophets of Rage / Rage Against the Machine, projects. Both of those are very fucking good. And do it well. They do it very well. So... I mean, there is good. You just kind of have to, like, search. And when it comes to underground stuff, it's usually, like, stuff I find on YouTube locally or just, you know, just something random that's usually small that I find or just local and stuff. So, I mean, wait, you're European and like Trump? I mean, there's definitely, there's going to be fans of Trump all over the place, to be honest. I mean, but, I'll get into that for sure. Don't worry. So, but I will have to probably pull a couple things about it because I won't be able to remember like literally every single thing off the top of my head here. Let's stop playing. I don't need to see myself go over myself like 10 seconds later. But I'll keep the chat right there. So, anyway, but back to the Hyperloop really quick. I won't stay on too much longer, but the whole concept of the Hyperloop was already put it on the, what the fuck am I saying right now? I've had to go deal with a passport today and shit. And I had to, like, try to find all my information and shit. I've had, like a strange day. But I think that's what's fucking with my mind, because I don't know what could possibly make me just, like, blank like that. But... yeah, I mean, the Hyperloop is already, but the Hyperloop was a concept that was already happening for at least 100 years by, I think it looked like, let me go back over here.
Take, for instance...
by, I think, a guy named Goddard, because he had this theory about the vacuum train loop, I think. Which I think gets into
the
it here.
Hyperloop, which is an idea that's been kicking around for at least 100 years. All Elon Musk did was put a new name on it. Yeah. Visionary.
I have a name for it. Which...
We're going Addison? Yeah, it's official. I'm going in October. And, I don't know, and that's the main reason why I'm getting the passports at the moment. And, yeah, it's just crazy how much money I have to, like, put over on the side and also deal with this, pay for school, pay for food. It's like, it's crazy, but... I'm also going to doing a convention later this weekend as well, and I'm putting money in that. It's like, oh man, when you need that money.
Called the Hyperloop.
The Hyperloop?
Hyperloop, yeah.
The Hyperloop.
And I think like maybe I should patent it and then offer to open source the patent to anyone that can make a credible case that they could actually do it.
Yeah, look at that.
Okay, so now he's getting into it. So he just kind of pulled the whole snippet, so I'll just read it all. Just read it here. The vac train proper was invented by Robert Goddard as a freshman at Rochester Polytechnic Institute of the U.S. in 1904. Goddard subsequently refined the idea in 1906 with a short story called The High-Speed Belt, which was summarized and published in a Scientific American editorial in 1909 called The Limit Rapid Transit. Etzer, his wife, was granted a U.S. patent for the vac train in 1950, 5 years after his death. In 1909, Russian professor Boris Weinberg, that's an interesting Russian name, built the world's first model of his proposed version of the vac train at Tom's Polytechnic University. He later published a vac train concept in 1914 in the book Motion Without Friction, Airless Electric, it's cut off, but I'm pretty sure it's meant to, like, say electric way, I think. In 1955, Polish science fiction writer Stanisław Lem, in a novel, The Magellan Nebula, wrote intercontinental vac train called Organovec, which moved in transparent tube at speeds higher than 1,666 kilometers an hour. I love that number, 666. Later, in April 1962, the vac train appears in the story of Mercenary by Mac Reynolds, where he mentioned vacuum transportation passing.
Totally what takes you easy to do, you know?
So this concept is already a thing 100 years, like a full century after Elon Musk was doing his Hyperloop idea, which you can't really patent something that's already patented. Honest, I mean, can you? I don't know much about this whole patent shit. I mean, I totally get the whole reasons of patents and stuff. You need them, but I mean, I don't know if you can repatent something that's already patented unless he did something different with what he's doing. That's totally could be different to what he's doing. I don't know. I mean, this is what I mean by Musk's like kind of overstretch of trying to push to do all these projects and stuff like the Hyperloop, SpaceX, the Boring Company, where you're sold flamethrowers and shit, which is fun. I don't mind having flamethrowers. Let's have at it. But I mean, it's just like, I mean, come on. I mean, it's just like I even saw a comment, and then not while I was pulling this up, but a while when I first saw this video, where he was saying like a theory why he's doing all these projects is to kind of diverge attention towards his failings in the SpaceX project. I'm like, I mean, even with his failings, you know, that's no reason to try to bring it out of the light. I mean, I would say bring that into light so you can say, hey, I mean, we messed up here, but, you know, we're working to better this and, you know, work on fixing these problems and stuff. I mean, I don't get why everybody seems to try to diverge intention and make a red herring out of situations where you honestly don't even really need to, in a sense. Like with SpaceX and maybe what they're getting into. It's just like, come on, just own up to the faults and failures that happened and work on making it better. I mean, I don't think he's like doing it out of just like that specific reason. Like, I'm sure he actually has like reasons as he's trying to do these projects, because he, you know, he's an inventor and also you know, someone who looks to the future, trying to progress civilization just via, you know, technological advances. So I do give him respect for that, because I'm that type of guy. I like to look to the future and see what optimisms of the human race come into fruition. I believe bicycles are the biggest mod in the Netherlands, and they also they're also very popular in Portland. We're very, very pedestrian friendly here, so I think that's probably where we got that influence, is from the Netherlands. If there are more bikes than people here, seriously. And in Portland, it's the same way. So, I mean, I think we adopted that premise. I mean, we even just recently, in 2015, built a bridge called the Tilcombe Bridge. And that's just a pedestrian-only bridge. Just transit goes across, people walk across it, ride bikes across it, and that's about it. And it's cool. I love it. It's a really great bridge. It helps connect where my neighborhoods, where I'm at, into actual downtown Portland. So I love that. It was really a good bridge. Still is. I mean, it's a beautiful bridge, especially at night. If I ever do a stream on the Willamette River at night, which I might sometime in the future this summer, I'll have to bring up the Tilcombe Bridge, because it is beautiful at night. Because there's lights that just make it all so colorful. It's cool.
They take 100-year-old ideas and they think they can patent them as their own. Oh, electric cars. Sure, no one ever thought of that before. How even the things people go crazy over, which I could admit in this case looks very impressive, is just a rerun and a more persistently funded version of the Delta Clipper, which was also kind of impressive 20 years ago.
Codename DCXA. This
just going right back into the rocket that I was mentioning. So it's called the DCXA. You just said it there.
Donald Douglas rocket is opening the door to routine and affordable
Here,
space
we'll just watch it back again.
Fly in almost any direction with amazing versatility.
And this was in the early 90s, which is so cool. I mean, even in the early 90s, we were working with this technology.
The DCXA performs its most remarkable maneuver. It lands in its original takeoff position on its tail. The ground crew control the DCXA by computer from a nearby trailer. It takes just 15 crew to prepare and launch it. But after many successful flights...
And this is the video where it crashed and blew up.
The DCXA test program finally came...
And I can even see it already. I mean, there's no third landing track right there. It failed to come out. The screen's shit. But darkening the screen... Nope, that just goes on my computer. Okay. Well, I don't know if you can see, but you see 1, 2, and 3, but there's no 4th one. So already I'm seeing the problem.
In 1996.
So 1996. So mid-90s. My bad. Timber. Boom, bitch. But yeah, I mean, that's cool. I mean, that's why I love science and, you know, research and stuff like that, because this stuff happens. I mean, and yeah, it crashed and burned, sure, yeah. But, I mean, the fact we're able to at least get this research, do the testing, and learn about it, and discover what to do with it and everything, that's what I love about science and stuff, even if things crash and burn. I mean, will Elon Musk be on Mars before NASA, you think? You know, that's a interesting question. I think maybe science is where dreams become reality. Indeed, yeah. And I think that's why people like Musk are important, because we need these type of dreamers and optimists to you know, try to bring the world together, at least in a sense of, you know, hey, we're going out into space stuff. But will he be going to Mars before NASA? I would probably maybe say yes and no, and here's why. Because I think with Musk, like, while he will be primarily using his the SpaceX to using SpaceX to get to Mars, I think they'll probably... I mean, I have no idea. I have no idea what his main intention is about Mars specifically. But maybe at least besides colonization and exploring it, you know. But with other intentions to maybe work with NASA and collaborate, that's a maybe. And I wouldn't rule that out entirely, because it's definitely a possibility that he would. But, I mean, if he doesn't, then I would definitely say yes. But if he does, I would say yes and no, because, of course, there's that collaboration going on. But, I mean, if NASA was better funded, I mean, because honestly, NASA has got a really bad funding. I mean, a lot of the projects that they want to do and a lot of the things that, you know, they're trying to maintain, I mean, most of the budget just can't really cover it that much. Which is kind of unfortunate, because, I mean, we used to have such a really good space program, of course, due to the space race and the Cold War, which, unfortunately, that was just because we didn't want... You know, we wanted to kind of top the Soviets in many ways, which, you know, was unfortunately the backing of this, essentially the space race and researching of space and stuff. Which I hope that the next generational research into space that kind of blooms out more. Which I think I do see that happening pretty soon, to be honest, considering that we do have these Falcon 9 rockets being reused at least 25 times so far, and every launch is live streamed on YouTube, and I watch a couple of them, and it's awesome. I mean, seeing the rockets come up, you know, and then detach, go all the way back down, and it's cool. It's definitely cool. If you guys ever happen to find one of the SpaceX launches happen to be happening, check it out. It's great. It's cool. And so, I mean, overall, I would probably say yes and no, but that's just mainly because I don't know. I also just don't know the relationship between SpaceX and NASA either. I mean, if I was like in charge of either or, I would encourage maybe a collaboration, because I think that's, I mean, because a lot of my deeper philosophies just on a whole worldview perspective is trying to get world peace and, you know, a world unity, but not like, oh, you know, one world government or whatever. I mean, like a world unity where we all are able to collaborate, work together, and you know, bring, you know, humanitarian aid where needed, you know, to around the world and stuff. I mean, and be united in that sense. Not like we're all just like one country or nothing like that. I mean, but I can get to that kind of specific philosophy another day. But at least with technologies, if I were running either or, I would do that because I think that would be good for at least, you know, getting ties with other nations that, you know, want to do these projects as well, and, you know, building communication and building like some form of trust in a way as well. And also just because, I mean, I think shouldn't be just specifically beneficial to one party or the other when it comes to exploring space. I think that should just be shared out throughout humanity, because, I mean, without a lot of the research into technologies going towards space, we wouldn't have a lot of the technology we have the way it is now. I mean, like, for example, the processors for the Apollo 13 mission, for example, or the Apollo 11, I think just both of them. I think just the Apollo program overall. Their processors ran less, but were far more bigger and complex than my current phone. Like, my phone has a better processor than the Apollo program missions. And I mean, while we probably would have seen these type of things advance anyway, I don't think it would have advanced as far as it did without, you know, researching space, going up there and seeing, getting, without, I'm blanking again, god damn it. I don't know why I keep doing that. I also, like, snuck over there and read that part of that comment. That's probably why. God damn you, Joe! I would like someday to see more international scientific research without nationality being involved. And that's kind of my premise. Like, I have no quarrel with, you know, someone being patriotic and stuff like that. You know, because I will probably consider myself a patriot. I mean, especially for this country and my state. And, you know, just, you know, as just kind of individuality as overall. But, yeah, I mean, and I just wish that there will be more of like a melting pot between cultures to understand them all better and to get them more influence into just kind of a more one united human culture that has a lot of subgroups that, you know, have its origins. Like, because I do find significance in culture and traditions and stuff like that. I do see that because, I mean, there's traditions I still hold that, even though I, you know, might not hold the specific views towards them, like, for example, Thanksgiving or, like, Christmas and stuff like that. Like, I still hold those traditions, even though, for example, of Christmas, I'm not religious at all and don't believe that the main focus with Christmas is, like, you know, Jesus resurrecting, whatever, you know, whatever the religious backing of it is. I mean, I don't follow it for that. I kind of follow it more of just because it's kind of cultural at this point, with especially with America. But in a lot of ways, it's just because it got capitalized on. I mean, a lot of businesses make a lot of money selling a lot of cool stuff and a lot of cool shit. And, like, the new hit games recently come out, you know, it's all, you know, it all kind of ties in, which is why, like, a lot of stuff, especially games and movies and things like that, usually come out around November, because that's right after December, and that's Christmas, and people are going to want to buy all sorts of stuff. I mean, there's also kind of all just ties in at that point. But, which is why I think it's just more of a cultural thing at that point, instead of, like, a religious tradition. I mean, that's what I would kind of push for, is a more just, like, the social cultural aspect, instead of the more, like the older traditionalistic sense of it. I mean, I guess you could probably say I'm, like, a little bit of a modern traditionist, I guess you can say, if that's a thing. Like, because, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a hard thing to kind of explain a little bit, because, I mean, there's, like, because I can pull so many different examples of traditions and cultures that I like about and don't like about and stuff like that. Like, for example, like, I mean, yeah, like, here's another example. Like, I mean, since I'm Danish Norwegian, and I at least knew I was Norwegian for the longest time, I have a lot of interest and respect towards Nordic and Viking culture. But at the same time, I understand that human and goat sacrifices aren't, you know, accepted. So, I mean, there's things about that culture that I'm like, whoa, bro, I don't need to make no sacrifices to some gods now. I mean, and so, but there's also many other things I do respect about, like, the Viking culture, like just the way a a lot of tribes historically have handled situations, how a lot of the political system of the culture was kind of based on. I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, I can also make other examples of other different cultures too. I mean, like Native American culture, for example. Like, I very much respect the idea that, because I don't know if it's generalized in all tribes, but I know with some of them, one of their like key things is about, especially environmentalism and land, take care of the land, is that if they want to ensure that the land that they live on and survive off of is good to be sustainable for their next 7 generations. So not just the first one, or not just the second, but 7 generations onward. So they have like a very close-knit view with nature and the environment and how to protect it, which I love that, and that's something I've actually adopted to me, like, because I mean, again, I can get, I can delve so deep and so far into a lot of my views on the whole world just based on this one video alone, getting into space and shit. So I mean, yeah, I mean, overall, Musk's Hyperloop idea though is just like, well, what are you doing? I mean, it's definitely a stretch, and I love the long tangent it got us into, just because, I mean, it's so sciencey and stuff. But I think we'll move on now. Let's get into some new fun stuff. So this is actually something here on debates, and then after that I'll get into some other more trending things. But we got this is a channel I do follow, Democratic Socialist 01, and he makes a lot of interesting videos. I mean, even if I probably didn't identify as that, I mean, I would most likely, watch his videos just because a lot of it has some really interesting input. And this one's on live debates, which for most part it's like usually goes on to YouTube, the internet mainly. I mean, this is kind of where he's mainly talking about. And I watched this video before I went live, and I'm glad I kind of pulled it, because there's things I do agree and disagree with. So we'll let it play on. It's only a short video, 5.5 minutes long. Well, I guess that's not technically short, but for my streams it's short. So I'll pull this, and then I'll stop it at specific points so we can get into it. But let's begin.
Most of you would have noticed that I'm not a fan of so-called YouTube debates. The reason for this is...
And right off the bat, I just want to say I kind of don't either, in a sense. But at the same time I do. Like, for me, it's how the debates are operated. And this is just going off the very first point here. And unfortunately, a lot of debates are considered like internet blood sports and stuff like that, which is very unfortunate, because then people who come in supporting whoever is talking, for example, like you may have like a right-winger debate one-sided, then have a left-winger debate on another, and then they just hound at each other and just go at it, and they'll probably throw an insult or two, and it ends up just diluting it to just some, just internet shit talking, basically, and it ends up not being productive at all. And then whoever supported whoever's side will end up just being like, oh yeah, he crushed that debate. And it's just like, and unfortunately that's just kind of how a lot of debates go on nowadays, which I definitely agree with that part. And the title of it says, stop dignifying fools with live debates. So at first I was like, the title threw me off as like a hold up. So let me at least watch the video to see what was going on. And then I heard the first part. I'm like, alright, I mean, I do agree with that. So, and it got me hooked. So with that main premise alone, being said, it's kind of like an unfortunate truth that that happens through debates nowadays, which hopefully, it's not always the case. Of course, it's not. Because I will see debates where it's totally eloquent, very respectful, even if it gets a little heated, and generally there's no, like, going after you know, whoever, just because of their different ideology. But overall, it's just generally that's how debates go, and it sucks. I mean, it makes debates just highly unwatchable, which is why I just kind of prefer watching discussions instead, because it just gives that person an opportunity to kind of talk about what he's talking about. And that's kind of how debates should be, is you bring forth your argument, and the other person who has an understanding of, or at least, you know, a basic background of what you're talking about, and has oppositions to it and criticisms, comes over and then makes his opening about his views. And, you know, like, at this point, I think debates need to be scheduled at a point where people do research on their opponent. Like, that has to start becoming a requirement or something, because he'll bring an example here as well, about a random debate that he pulled, which, of course, we'll get into. But I'm going to shut up now and let him continue on with his views here. I'll turn up just a little bit.
Is that these debates are often unmoderated, which means that fact-checking is absent. This allows the charismatic ignoramus to triumph over the stuttering expert. Basically, victory goes to the best orator rather than the person with the best arguments.
And that's true, because I mean, for me, I definitely don't have amazing social skills, and I think I proved that with some of these streams a lot. Like, I blanked out on a lot of random shit I was talking about. That was kind of deep, and then just blinks. I'm like, I was talking about that. No. And then I'll like easily kind of like lose a quick train of thought, and I'll kind of stop to think before I even say something, because like, that's strangely just kind of like how I work. Like, I think before I even say something, and then if I'm talking while I'm thinking, and then my speech like gets forward before my thought, I end up going like, or just quiet it down, and then I'm like, you know, and then you know, even for me, it's annoying because I don't like how I do that. I wish my speech was a lot better, which I think just kind of the more you talk and the more you're able to kind of, you know, train your mind essentially to do both really well, which, you know, doing these streams does it, just talking in general does it, discussing with other people does it. I mean, just social interaction does that. So yeah, but I'll continue on with this, because that is true, because I mean, I do consider myself at least relatively intelligent. I mean, I'm not smart in everything, you know, like when it comes to math, I know I'm stupid. When it comes to science, while I love and respect it, I'm not the biggest expert on it, and I wouldn't be able to like tell you exactly like specific things of like certain theories and shit, or like problems or formulas and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of different things that I definitely know I'm not smart about, though I can respect, you know. But you never be a politician if you think before you talk. That is true, which is why I see, when I see a lot of politicians who are just kind of more casual, kind of like how Bernie is, and, you know, might stutter over a point instead of being robotic and able to get every point clearly and thoroughly. And, I mean, that's the big difference of who you can tell who's being more principled and genuine about what they're actually believing in, to somebody who sold out to a specific idea or a specific, you know, ideology because whoever bought them supported that, which it really sucks when we see that. And unfortunately, our governmental system is polluted with it in every wing of this country, from like the Democratic left to the Republican right to just even fringes and everything. It's everywhere. And it sucks. I mean, hopefully we will be able to get that combated, which hopefully with debates and discussions, which again, this video is going into that. So I'll get into continue on with the video here with just the point that, I mean, one of my, I'll get into one of my disagreements when he brings it up, though. I'll await.
No opinion, a debate should be between two groups who are knowledgeable about the topic but disagree on how to interpret the factual information. There should be impartial moderators who are there to fact-check claims and punish those who spout nonsense. For example, let's say there's a debate on who won the space race during the Cold War. One person argues...
Oh, how convenient. We were just talking about that.
That the Soviets won the space race. The second person argues that the United States did. The third person, however, argues that the Earth is flat and that it is all a giant hoax, whilst the fourth is totally ignorant on the subject. Now, if you ask me if the third and fourth person deserve to be standing on the debate platform, I would answer no. They are wasting everybody's time, and the moderators should quickly remove them so more time can be focused on the real discussion.
And I don't actually necessarily disagree with that, but they shouldn't be, like, thrown off the whole discussion. But, oh, I think JDH left there, actually. It looks like it. Yeah, it looks like it's just you and me again. Aw. I was hoping he would stick around, because I did want to, see his opinion on this one. He left, like, just right before it. I noticed it tick down. I'm like, oh, I wonder who that was, but... if he comes back, we'll ask him that, because I do know there is I mean, I don't know the specific party names, but I do know there is like a Social Democratic Party, and there's like a Green Party, and there's a right-leaning party, but I don't know the names of them. So I mean, of course he would be able to answer that, but unfortunately he's not around. It's probably late at night there. I mean, who knows? Didn't talk much. Yeah, I did notice some of his comments, so I might just go over them later. He might come back, watch this stream after I'm live, and you know, see some of the stuff. Because I am gonna not. I mean, of course, you know, go into my critiques on a couple of what he says. Because I mean, it's not unheard of to find messages retracted. He retracted a lot of his messages. What the fuck? Okay. Alright, well, I don't remember a lot of what he said. I just know one of them was something about Trump keeping his promises, which is... I also wanted to stop what I was saying and be like, hold up, but I didn't want to do that because I knew I was going to be like, you know, not get my points out because I'm trying to find them in my head, basically, so... But, yeah, that's why, I think I got him mad, damn. I mean, he probably would have left maybe after him and I probably started going rebuting each other. I mean, it's just the way of the internet. It's just the way of the internet. People. I mean, not saying what he was doing. I mean, whatever. I wasn't paying super much attention, but I mean, I was observing. But I mean, it just seems like a lot of people get sensitive to certain things and are like, I don't like that, and leave. Instead of actually like confronting it, which I guess it gets into this point about what he was just mentioning here about if somebody, for example, like he was talking about with space race, saying, oh, the USSR won the space race, so the US did, and then the other one's like, the Earth is flat and that's a conspiracy. I mean, the moderators and then the other two people talking about it should should confront that and be like, you're wrong. You're wrong. What are you doing here? And, you know, and debate why it's wrong. It's like, there's proof the Earth is not flat. It's called pictures. It's just reality. I mean, you can't just deny reality. I mean, it's easy to, I mean, for, when it comes to that, I doubt you will see flat earthers come out in debates like that, though. So I mean, it was kind of a little stretch, which is why I said I agreed and disagreed with it, because with that specific example, I'd say sure, because the dude is too far gone, because he thinks the Earth is fucking flat. But like, let's say we're debating a climate denialist versus a environmentalist. I mean, some people will consider the climate skeptic or denialist as way too far gone, and depending on who you talk to in that sphere, yeah, you might be right. Though for people who, or I guess you more skeptics than denialists, you know, I mean, there's just a lot of gray area of who would be like intellectual or who wouldn't, which I think is kind of the problem with debates. We let people who have shitty ideas, but charisma, because that's what most people generally look for first, unfortunately, when it comes to debates. It's like, who's more eloquent with their idea, and do I like it? I mean, that's too much, unfortunately, of a factor of debates, which sucks. And that's why I again, agreed and disagreed, because if a climate skeptic was making his points across and eloquently and also respectfully, but there was a different debate where a different climate skeptic was making outrageous points, but was also just as eloquent, or even more eloquent, or whatever, but was making outrageous statements and points that were just absolutely false. I mean, even in that aspect, I would not just outright, throw them off the table. I would just continue to confront that and, and rebuke why it's wrong. Which I think a lot of people, just because I guess even for me, I think it's like, oh, but that's a lot of work. Why do we gotta do that? It's like, because it's important to bring up these issues, or else people are just not going to get it, essentially, and then or process it fully, and be skeptic of at least both sides. I mean, just because I might agree with one side, I'm always gonna be like, all right, hold up, I'm gonna be a third person and see who in this made the best points for their position. And because I've found myself sometimes agreeing with the side I would not expect to agree with, because the other side did not make proper points, at least. Because that's the main thing. Like, the main thing of the debate is to do research on your opponent and your own views on what the debate's going to be about. For example, like climate change, or environmentalism, like was the example we're using. So we'll continue to use that. Like, if both should at least do research as to why they have the views as they do, bring them up, and then bring counterpoints of the same beliefs into, it has to be a back and forth. It can't just be, then going back and all this. Which you'll bring up an example of a perfect debate that's utter garbage, which comes up actually just right now. Here we go.
Debate between an expert and a complete ignoramus should never take place. Take the academic agents debate with Jack, for example.
So, this was between a debate between a guy named Jack and the other one I forgot, but I think it was something debates or something like that.
I haven't seen you provide even a scintilla of support.
Because I don't even understand.
The academic something. That's the other guy. But unfortunately, this guy makes a fool of himself, which is, unfortunately, again, the problem of debates nowadays. Because it's just blood sports like this.
Did not even know what the theory is, and you said the theory was nonsense. When people say that a theory is nonsense, and they don't know anything about the theory,
Jack,
that's just intellectual dishonesty.
No, it's not, because I have read.
So you do know what the theory is.
I have read all 3 fucking volumes of Capital.
No, you haven't.
I
Why
have.
are you lying?
I have. I've written books on.
So tell me.
Okay.
Tell me if you've read.
So he's making a claim that he's read all the volumes of Capital, which is by Marx. And this other person is asking if he knows a specific thing about it, and he just doesn't bring it up.
All 3 volumes of Capital, right? Tell me what CV and S stand for.
CV and S.
Tell me what CV and S stand for.
And I also will admit that I do not know what that means either. So I'm not going to make an assumption what that means.
You've read all 3 volumes of Capital. What do those initials mean in the labor theory of value?
Jack, please.
You're a liar. Now, why would you lie?
Jack, I want you.
You don't even know. You've never read the fucking book.
I have read the book. Okay,
What
and
does
I published.
mean?
I've not even. I can't bloody remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, you can't remember. So you don't fucking know what the theory is.
But
okay? The
listen.
point is, if you're going to say the theory is false, you
Jack,
have to provide an argument that the theory is false.
You have to provide.
What is the argument?
So the academic.
So, yeah, that was just a total flop. And he brings a link down here where you can watch it yourself. And I'll just pull it up here. See what it is. How long does this go for?
Even if it is not a controlled environment. If the difference
14 and a half million? Or no, 14 and a half minutes. I don't know why I said million. 3 times naked ape annihilated crowd on race wheel. Okay, so a YouTube debate. Oh, so it's just a different one. Oh, so here's the other one. Alright, here it is. That is over 4 hours long. Fuck that. Never mind. But, oh my god. Oh, there's timestamps. Okay, that's awesome. So, yeah, there's all sorts of... I've ran out of space to timestamp, and he was only 1 hour and 44 minutes in stamping everything. So, damn. I'm not going to go for all of that, and also, just considering what I saw, it just sounds like insane craziness that I just don't even want to get into, so holy shit. But, yeah, I mean, that's the unfortunate thing about debates, it's just that happens, and it's just like, oh, I mean, that's not what it's meant to be. So, I wish, at least for moderators, they would have a more, policy on fact-checking and, trying to, give it, I don't know. I mean, if, like, let's say, like, I mean, at some point when I get my podcast going and it grows to an extent, I'm going to probably at some point also have debates on here, either with me or me as a moderator with my friends here, and get into debates myself, because, I mean, I love debates, especially if they're, I got it fucking fur all over my nose. I mean, so, I mean, I've already had a couple debates already on this, streaming, actually, even. So, I mean, it's not like I've already haven't done them. I mean, I did one on healthcare with my uncle. So, I mean, there's one example. I mean, that was one of my outside streams, which, for a random off-the-cuff debate like that, I mean, it was, like, a little, but, I mean, it still was a debate, at least. And we didn't end up fighting or whatever. I mean, it was just like... It was more or less that I didn't have the facts I needed in front of me to, just pull up, essentially. Because, I mean, it's not that I have bad memory, it's just that with, when it comes to, like, politics and stuff, and a lot of theories and what's going on in the news, I don't remember everything right off the top of my head, so I end up going back to a lot of stuff if I need to, so... Which isn't a bad thing, it's just, proofreading your sources and just going back to your sources to prove it. Shotgun boy, window boy, and guitar boy. The main, yeah, I mean, I haven't met up with all of them yet. I probably will later today on how the podcast will be. I know that TK and Harley will definitely be my co-hosts, and Spasmatic will essentially be kind of like our musician who's like we kind of both equally sponsor, essentially. Problem comes down to who pays for it with healthcare. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's not whether it's free or not, it's who pays for it. And even as much as my dad's a staunch libertarian, and him and I have already had a couple of debates because I had to go with him to get our passports and stuff for Iceland, so that was a fun little treat. But I don't even think he realizes it, but I mean, a lot of, because we even went on to healthcare a little bit because we were visiting my mom in the rehab center she was at, which she's definitely looking a lot better, but they're saying she might leave, but I'm like, she doesn't need to leave, she needs to continue working on herself before she comes back here, because she's just going to lose a lot of the progress she just had, so that's a no-no in my book, so we're going to probably get into that about the doctors and stuff, but anyway, the main thing is the reason why she might come back is because the insurance doesn't want to cover her rehabilitation, and he was saying just like, it's just, he was basically making a point, let me try to remember really quick, it was pretty quick, he was making the point that, insurance just likes to, say like, oh, we'll cover these things, but we won't hear and stuff. I'm just sitting here like, yeah, you know, because we shouldn't have to cover for things like that again. Science bothered again. It's not science. It's my cat is shedding and my palms are kind of clammy, and the fur sticks to my hands. When I do this, it sticks to my nose and it itches and it's fucking annoying. My sinuses overall actually cleared up for the most part, so that should be okay. I haven't had that problem since like last week, so I think that is actually cleared out. So I don't think that was allergies, but yeah, I mean, he kind of made an argument for universal healthcare without even realizing it. I'm like, and then I made the point, it's like, yeah, you know, we shouldn't have to, you know, pay for things like this because, you know, how much, you know, we're suffering, especially how we're trying to go to Iceland. I'm trying, you know, invest into some hobbies of my own and stuff like that I hope to, you know, at least help, you know, make a living off of with and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's just, you know, I mean, I didn't say this is why we need universal healthcare. I mean, because that will instantly make him kind of go right back and, you know, withdraw a lot of what he was just saying. But I just kind of made that point, and I mean, we didn't say anything after that. But I'm just like, I mean, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, you know, you just made an argument for universal healthcare. So I mean, you don't sound. I mean, my dad's got weird fucking politics, man. He's just like, oh my god, It's like a freaking, I don't even know how to say it. It's like a mission and a half to freaking process a lot of his views. I mean, I can probably do a whole episode trying to just process a lot of what he was saying here. But I mean, you know, I don't think I need to go for the rest of this video because, I mean, overall, it just kind of goes into the point of, you know, these specific groups of people who, you know, essentially are just fringe, and we shouldn't bring these people out for the light. And that's my main disagreement. I think he actually gets into it here. I'll play a little bit more after this. I guess maybe not.
The agent was sitting there clueless as Jack educated him on the four groups who actually understood the theory but disagreed on its merits. Therefore, I believe Jack was wasting his time debating the academic agent. Another problem with YouTube debates is gish galloping.
A gish gallop is an informal name for a debating technique that involves drowning the opponent in such a torrent of half-truths, lies and straw-man arguments that the opponent cannot possibly answer every falsehood that has been raised. Patiently rebutting each of these falsehoods takes up onlookers' time and bandwidth. And remember, it's much easier to spout a lie than to explain the truth. And by even responding, you are taking these points seriously, giving them a credibility they do not usually deserve.
And why does...
Did you see my note about your discussion on the label? I don't think I have yet, though I might have. I can pull that up inside, see if I can find it, and see if it's the one I think you're talking about. But, yeah, and with that point, for me, it's that, I mean, when that happens, I mean, despite the fact that it is kind of a time-wasting situation, I mean, it still needs to be brought up and fact-checked and also, you know, basically put out in the light that that is, you know, a fallacy type of argument. And hopefully maybe that will help kind of essentially bring a lot of that down, but I mean, you never really know, you know. So I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like, and this is another thing that I agree yet disagree with, because it's something that, while I do agree, it's something that I think we still need to, you know, put forward and, you know, bring out in the light and break it down and rebut it. So I mean, that's what kind it comes down to. Like, I mean, he does, you know, like kind of what he's going over. Like, you know, he's like, I'm understanding his argument, and I'm just offering my rebuttals on this argument. And this is something we don't even really need fact check, because this is more of the philosophical debate instead of like a debate on a lot of things that need examples and stuff like that, like climate change or political foreign policy debates, immigration debates. You can go down the list. But you can't fact check a garbage can full of crap that may be partially right. That is true, too. And when that ends up being the case, you just have to call that out. I mean, you know, people like, I mean, even I have kind of a reluctance to, because I'm such a, you know, nice person, really. I mean, I don't like to just like call out, you know, whatever. I mean, it's kind of, I mean, that's ironic though, because I mean, I do mock and shit talk the fuck out of a lot of different things online, but I mean, in real life, if I'm actually talking to a person or something like that, I don't go straight towards that, like, because that's not legitimately like me. Like, I mean, it'll be probably my thoughts, because it's easier to say what you're thinking on the internet than actually speaking it. I mean, at least that's how it is for me. So I mean, like, but if it was just such immense bullshit like that though, I'll be like, okay, no, I have to call that out, and I would, you know, I mean, because we shouldn't be afraid to call out what it is. And if it's a garbage can full of shit, then you're a garbage can full of shit. And you know, it's, you know, and that, I mean, you know, you shouldn't throw them off to like the debate table, but you should just be like, okay, you're just gonna be here wasting everyone's time, so don't be doing this stupid bullshit and actually conform with an actual fucking argument instead of just, you know, spouting drivel and nonsense. You know what I mean? So I mean, yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's kind of a tough thing to decide when it's okay to just say, all right, we need to just throw you off because you're just fucking worthless and useless to this debate. But yeah, which why I think when it comes to debates, if someone is doing debate, I don't know how you would make it mandatory, but I think it, you know, it should at least be required that you research your opponent to an extent, and instead of making straw man arguments, make steel man arguments, where you actually combat what their main premises are and their main arguments, and see what flaws they may have and everything. Trump plays that way of putting eyes elsewhere to avoid issue. Never knows direct answers to a question. Yeah, I mean, and there's even I wasn't wasn't gonna get into it, but I mean, even with his comment on the whole thing with like their animals and stuff, talking about this sheriff asking him a question about like MS-13 or something like that. And actually, I think that's probably a good chunk to move on, because we got Alex Jones saying some crazy shit about this kind of situation. So what was I about to say before that? But I mean, even with that, I mean, it's kind of like a test. Even Kyle Kalinske said what it actually was. I mean, I could pull that up really quick. I'll pull that up really quick. Sexual talk instead of secular talk. Let me pull that up. Let me find that video. Let me find my sexual talk video. Selling out the big seltzer. Selling out the big seltzer.
So this story is about a week old, but I feel compelled to cover it because it blew up so much, and there's so many varying. It was undocumented. Well,
just skipping.
I wanted to.
So here's the original comment. I'll just let that play out.
I know about. If they don't reach a certain threshold, I cannot tell ICE about them.
We have people coming into the country or trying to come in. We're stopping a lot of them. But we're taking people out of the country. You wouldn't believe how bad these people are. These aren't people. These are animals. And we're taking them out of the country at a level and at a rate that's never happened before. And because of the weak laws, they come in fast. We get them, we release them, we get them again, we bring them out. It's crazy. The dumbest laws, as I said before, the dumbest laws on immigration in the world.
Okay, so I want to play it one more time and just try to.
I mean, we don't really need to hear it.
MS-13, and I think that's a sheriff talking to him right there, if I'm not mistaken. And you know, earlier on in her comment, she you could tell she's very right-leaning, and she's talking. You know, we need more leeway to basically do it. We're taking people out. You wouldn't believe how bad these people are. Animals. It's about Trump. Because
did he just say it?
For how one feels about Trump.
I think he did just mention it here. I'm trying to just find that specific thing he was calling it.
So listen, to me, when I hear that, I honestly think this is a Rorschach test.
Rorschach test. Okay, that's what it is. So basically, it's just how you, like, essentially how you feel about Trump will kind of determine what that comment was. So I actually made a comment on this video, kind of breaking it down in my personal view. So I'll just read that instead of trying to go over what I already said, essentially. So the original it was a reply to a comment, so let me just read the original one. It says, "Fun fact, human beings are animals. We really need everyone to take science classes." Which is a upvoted comment. And I said, yeah, exactly. However, Trump is not using the term animals in that context. He's using it as a derogatory term towards a specific group. Now, that group, he didn't mention immigration until after talking about MS-13 members that aren't being captured or whatever. So, with that, that is true. He didn't specifically start talking about immigration policies or just that in general until after, you know, saying, oh, we're taking these people out, you know, they're animals and stuff like that. And so, for me, I made my actual analysis here. So I said, honestly, this is just Trump's senilism and ignorance on the issue and giving crumbs to his base, who are a bunch of people who are insensitive or have very negative view or outright against immigration. Trump has already proved he's a bigot and at least racially sensitive, if not racist. So, I do still think that. I mean, I said this yesterday. So, I mean, but thinking about it on it a little more, I still think that. Like, because Trump does, like, I mean, does he really know everything about MS-13? Because, I mean, I decided to look up MS-13 because I'm like, you know what? Are they even a Mexican gang? Like they say, and, no, they're not. No, they're not. So prior to all that, I said, first of all, why were we specifically talking about MS-13? There's plenty of gangs and cartels that are significantly worse, which there is. And I forget their crazy Hispanic names, but I think some are the Zeta Cartel, Los Antrax, Sonora Cartel, Gulf Cartel. I actually looked up the list after Zeta Cartel, because I genuinely did not know, you know, what they all were. But all of those are based in Mexico, and guess what? MS-13 isn't on that list. It's not on the list. And I decided to look into the list, and yeah, and I said that. It again originated in Los Angeles, U.S., It wasn't until later that it spread internationally. And when I looked up who were the main demographics, it was Central Americans, but more specifically Salvadorians. So it's not even Mexicans who are in that gang, it's Salvadorans. Or people mostly with Central American ethnicities, which I would assume probably means if you want to join this gang, basically, you probably need to have some Aztec or Mayan heritage, or at least proof of it of some sort. So that's why I say this is his ignorance, because you know he's not gonna know all this information, but I mean just the basic information I looked up at least on MS-13. I mean he's not gonna know that specifically, because he just sees them all as criminal scum, which MS-13 is. I'm going to say that, because MS-13 is a criminal gang, of course. Though, I mean, there's a lot of different premises as to why they probably exist, which I would say is the drug war and having poverty where there shouldn't be. By the way, the meatloaf was so good. Lol. Remember we did in my dinner thought last time? Oh my god, yeah, because of the giant worm. I'll show that video again. I'll make sure that next dinner meal is bad. I'm just kidding, but... Close 2 tabs. Oh, yes. Close them. But, yeah. So, I mean, like, I'm not going to say I know everything about MS-13 just based off that information. So, I mean, would I say it's mostly Hispanics now? I still probably wouldn't. I'll probably... Though, I would say there are Hispanics in this gang. I'm not going to say that there probably aren't, because there's Hispanics and Mexicans that have Aztec or Mayan descent, too. So, I mean... Ask for Trump in the group of people coming some of the people in the South, but they're not coming to government or coming to Trump. I'm just going to read that here. Ask for Trump and the group. Yes, they are coming from people from South, but they're not coming from the government. They're coming from drug cartels to try and expand business, just like any business. Yeah, I mean, and that's because due to these drug wars that, you know, we keep perpetuating, and you know, that's such a waste of money too. And that just goes to the point where we should at least decriminalize all drugs. And if you do that, you can at least start setting a precedent for regulations and at least more legal, safe ways to produce these drugs. Because, I mean, the main reason why people go for cocaine, go for meth or heroin is because they're trying to get a high that, you know, they would have got off medications that the doctor's giving them, because the pharmaceuticals keep pushing pills in all these small towns and all these places, you know, just to get more money out of these people. And that goes into a different situation too. So I mean, you know, when it comes to this immigration issue, you just have to. I mean, it's a far more bigger picture than most realize. And I think with the, you know, unfortunately with the right specifically, I mean, not, you know, to generalize them, but I mean most of them, or at least a good chunk of them, do have I think I said it here, insensitive, very negative, or outright against immigration. So, I mean, and it's those people that don't totally understand the bigger picture or just don't connect dots about it. I mean, and I just connected a couple of dots that, you know, make that such a problem. And, I mean, and there's more. I mean, you know, I mean, because it is a big picture. I mean, you know, because there's the, you know, pharmaceuticals pushing the pills, and people get addicted to those, and they try to find a high and go on the streets to find it, and then some random pimp or some gang member or gang leader, you know, in their local town who gets their supplies from these cartels and shit. I mean, it just goes. I mean, yeah, like you just said there, the drug business is a very big, complicated issue. I wrote a paper on it in high school many years ago. This has many levels, and that is, I mean, like, yeah, at some point, I would definitely want to go into the history of the drug war, but specifically on cartels, just like specific cartels and their leaders of their prime and heights. Like, and I would start with Pablo Escobar, because, I mean, he kind of made this whole drug war thing the issue it is. I mean, well, of course, the DEA and the U.S. were the ones perpetrating it, but it was the reaction to what he was doing that caused it, which, I mean, and that guy is just such a character. I mean, I mean, that's why I would want to do that type of show, or at least that type of stream at some point, because, I mean, I can do a whole stream on that. Because, I mean, there's so much to learn about him, and so much to understand of what he is, you know? So, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a lot that gets into it. I mean, there's the local politics of where these gangs originated from. There's the local politics of the United States, where people get addicted to these drugs, and there's the international politics of, you know, pushing. I mean, it just goes. It's tied. I mean, you just have to connect these dots. Rather, you know, it's just even if it's only a couple dots, then at least you can start understanding where that problem comes from. And, you know, I mean, and kind of going back to the debate segment there, I mean, that's why if someone has such an outlandish view, that's why you shouldn't kick them off these debate stages, because then you can at least push with facts and knowledge and respectfully, of course. I mean, you shouldn't start with the mockery. I mean, if they continue and are just so close-minded and walled off and shell themselves inside from these issues, then yeah, go ahead, because they're being fucking stupid and they're not being mature. But if they're willing to at least hear you out, bring you, you know, that's where the debate starts to open up, and that's where it becomes a discussion. And that's kind of like one of my main core views about debates and stuff like that, is don't just go straight for, you know, the mockery. Like, I mean, there's times where it's acceptable and necessary. I mean, but the debate shouldn't be based on that, you know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, that's why, you know, I try to learn so much about or at least try to have a lot of knowledge of the drug war, at least a basic understanding of it, so at least I can plant the seed in people to be like, let's see what he's talking about here and research into it. Goes from top level CEO to real big business down street level dealer, going on supply to a friend's small business. Many levels. Yeah. I mean, and we were just even going for that just now a little bit. I mean, there's also, I mean, and the thing is, if you at least decriminalized it, that criminal incentive wouldn't be a case anymore. Most of the issues would then be solved with court, at least, you know, most of them. Because, I mean, there's still good. Like, even with marijuana, there's still going to be, you know, street deals, of course there is. I mean, that's the black market now. It's just your local grower down the street at this point. And sometimes, especially in, unfortunately, more impoverished neighborhoods, because that plays a factor with, you know, wealth redistribution and then the lower class growing and everything like that, and outsourcing jobs. So there's another dot, you know, being connected. So, I mean, you know, and unfortunately in these areas, because it still happens here, where people, you know, they rob people of their weed or some shit, or, you know, cause troubles, you know, in local impoverished, or, you know, even down to the homeless community, so, you know, just over a little bit bud and stuff. So it still happens. But when it comes to dispensaries or, you know, more matured, longer standing operations and chill, you know, in general, they will they'd be handling a lot of that through the court. So and that's the main incentive for decriminalization, so you can end a lot of the violence that happens. I wish. Let me cry again. Here. I mean, you know, that's. I mean, when it comes to with this whole drug situation, I am optimistic. I mean, because, I mean, once you get marijuana legalized, then the main problem at that point will be just the hard drugs like heroin, meth, crack, you know, cocaine. I mean, that would now become the main problem, and then at least at that point, that will open up the discussion, because then there will be evidence, modern evidence, to show that, hey, legalization of drugs cripples the drug cartels, and this drug war is not working. So maybe we should start doing that instead, so then they just run out of money, run out of the business, and have to resort to other methods. And at that point, they'll be very weakened, and there'll be a lot of people in those cartels that, you know, would want a job and stuff, and once they realize that, you know, that business ain't going to be working for them, then they're probably going to call for... I mean, when it comes to the I mean, I don't know a lot about Mexican politics, but I do know that drug cartels are corrupted the fuck out of most of the Mexican government, unfortunately. And with that, you know, I know enough to understand that people, you know, that's the reason why a lot of the immigration happens, so people run away from that. And unfortunately, drug cartels take advantage of that. And that's why we have these unfortunate arguments and debates and divisions on immigration, is because drug cartels just take advantage of it. And then the DEA and the pharmaceutical industries and then the medical industry take advantage of it, because then they can continue to push the medications that hook people into these more street drugs. I mean, a great example is, I mean, I'm not going to say her name or nothing, but my aunt. And, I mean, she used to be addicted to meth. Not anymore. I mean, she's fine now. But, I mean, and totally recovered, but it still left a scar, you know, in the end, you know, because she doesn't look the same as she used to be. But, I mean, I forgot, I don't know how she, like, hooked herself, but, you know, she got herself down the path of, you know, street drugs with meth, and it was kind of, you know, it was a dark time for her, because she probably could have been killed, been dead. Maybe not killed by somebody, but dead because of the drug, because of how unsafe and unregulated it is. So, I mean, you know, and even with my folks in Texas, they, while they're opening it up to medical marijuana legalization, they still made the argument that it's still a gateway drug, and that it's addictive, even though both of those claims aren't really true. I mean, it can be a gateway drug. I'm not saying it's not, because for some people it can be, and a lot of that has to do with the marijuana being laced, because it's illegal, and it gets in the hands of these scrupulous dealers who are already dealing the hard shit. So they're gonna be like, here, I'll give them a little sample of this product, so they'll keep coming back and maybe want some of my coke, and I get more money out of them, you know, and make my you know, little drug business more profitable. Gateway to pain relief. That's what it is. A lot of times, a lot of these people who get addicted is due to trying to find pain relief, and just at that point, that's just what they need to function. And, you know, that stems down into, you know, why we need public rehabilitation centers and public housing, so we can get people off the streets and get them the actual pain relief that they need, and actual, you know, care, and the actual path to recovery, so they can help themselves. And I see that so often where, you know, people don't have that opportunity. I mean, I know a lot of those people. So when it comes to the drug war, and when it comes to healthcare, I mean, those are two of my passions, because I see it firsthand a lot of the time, and you know, and in essence directly affects me too, especially with the healthcare debate, because of my own family. Because right, I mean, my mom going through cancer and shit now, that fucked her up, and you know, and my dad used to be alcoholic. I mean, but due to the rehabilitation, he was able to not be that way anymore. He's not, which is great, you know. So I mean, and then with my uncle, he had a lumbar stenosis or some shit, and that basically caused him to be like paralyzed the waist down. Not like literally, but there was a nerve where it like cut off like the feeling and function of his legs slowly over time, and had to get a surgery on it. But he's doing, again, I mean, luckily, I mean, it most of the time it's you know, gone through and it's good in the end. But it's just because, you know, we don't, I mean, a lot of the reason why is just because we don't want to, you know, worry about how much we're gonna have to pay just so we can just feel better, you know. I mean, that's just the problem of it. But we went so deep with this shit. But didn't Spat say he used to do crack or meth? No, I don't think it was crack. I think it was yeah, I'm pretty sure it was meth. It was either that or heroin, one of the two. I'm pretty sure, I'm like 90% sure it was meth though. But he's been sober as well. So I mean, you know, he's another example of seeing the direct result of a lot of the problems that goes on internationally with politics and just the world and just how things operate. So I mean, yeah, it's you know, and it's hard to you know, get through a lot of people who aren't as educated about these things through them, you know, without getting so impassioned. Because I mean, when I get impassioned, then that ends up meaning I'll probably seem like I'm lashing out, you know what I mean? So I mean, it, you know, and going back for the debate, I mean, that just is why we need to just make sure you have your research in front of you, make sure you have reliable sources and accurate sources, and you just try to be eloquent and respectful as possible to your opponent. So I mean, and hopefully in the future we'll be able to have some of these debates, because I mean, in a way I'm kind of excited about that, because I love, you know, in a way I do love talking about with other people. So, you know, if it ends up going down to, you know, just a shout show, I mean, I'm afraid to throw a couple of the words down lane, but I mean, it's just like, I'm not here for that, you know what I mean? So sometimes you need a rope to climb out of a hole. In this case, this kid gave him his rope out. Yeah. And yeah, and with that, like, I would like to kind of like consider me and a couple of our mutual friends to be kind of like the knots to help his feet stay in place to get back up. Because I mean, in that rope, because you know, like when I first met him, he wasn't super, you know, into all that shit, and then I just kind of saw him delve low, and for the longest time we haven't hung out for a while, but now I was able to kind of see this comeback, especially after his child, and I went, wow, you know, I'm starting to get kind of impressed. And then he eventually, you know, is where he is now, and it's like, you know, man, you know, if you really do continue this road, I mean, you know, even with or without your kid, I mean, you know, you will definitely be made for success, and that, you know, that's where he's going for. And it's, you know, and I definitely am optimistic about him. I hope he continues to go down that path, though. I mean, he is a nice guy. He definitely is. He's definitely, in a lot of ways, high energy me, in a sense. Like, I mean, he doesn't remind me of me specifically, or is like super related towards like my character, but I mean, I do see a lot of just his friendly and respect vibes. You know, I have a lot of that similarities, so I mean, that's kind of where I see the relations. But Damn, went on. We went on. We went on a deep situation. So I guess we'll move on to some of our other videos here. So, oh, I forgot I had this other thing on Alex Jones and MS-13 because this video is ridiculous. I'll pull this up and let you guys see so you don't have to see my ugly face. You don't have to see my ugly face. Oh my god, my cat has quit folding into the chair. Like, I don't want my back supported by yours. Freak.
About that. Nancy Pelosi is in essence saying, don't call this guy an animal or a monster. Because she's saying about MS-13 thousands of times worse conservatively than this killer. In the aggregate, she's saying, don't talk bad about them, and they're all acting sad because the Democratic Party uses MS-13 to kill people.
What the fuck? Oh, God. Oh, God. Where did that come from, dude? I mean, where did I come from? What? Oh my, I swear, I think that's like one of his main talking points. I think that's one of his main talking points. He's just like, the Democrats use insert to insert people. And it's just like, and this one was MS-13 to kill people. It's like, yeah, show me where MS-13 is funneling money to the Democrats. I'll wait. Oh wait, there is none. So, fail. Like, come on. Oh, I mean, no one can truly, unironically, seriously believe that. I mean, what? Where's the connection? I mean, see, I mean, this is going into the Trump's comment on the animal thing, and the thing is with that, I mean, like Kyle was saying, it's a Rorschach's test. I mean, so Democrats are all just going to say is that he was saying all immigrants, and then all the people on the right in his base are just going to say, oh, he's he was only meaning MS-13, and it's like, you can interpret that either or. I mean, and for me, I don't know how he was interpreting it, because it does seem like it was just too muddled and gray for me to really pinpoint. I mean, it's too generalized. So I can just only assume that that's just his ignorance and his just senile-ism on the issue. So I mean, I just kind of wish the other dude was back, because I mean, I'd like to see what some of his opinions would be on it. I mean, because I have a, not to assume what you would say, but I have a feeling it probably would bring up the refugee situation probably going on in Europe right now. And, I mean, kind of, I have no idea. Of course I have no idea, but I mean, if let's say if he was to, I mean, it wouldn't be the same issue, first of all. I mean, because those are two totally different issues. But we need a Trump lover here to balance. In a way, I mean, yeah, because a lot of why I'm doing these YouTube videos too is just to see what other people on the other side say. I mean, and just kind of converse, you know? I mean, because I do that a lot, you know, in the comments on YouTube. Might as well do it on video, you know, along with what every other podcast most likely does and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's fun. I like it. I understand why a European man likes them. I mean, there's, I mean, I can see it because there's political parties in Europe, like, for example, the Alternative for Germany in Germany, of course. I mean, they're kind of a far-right nationalistic type of party. I mean, there's far-right parties in Europe, while some are not significant at all. Some do have some minute significance in some of the countries. I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but at the same time, it kind of does, because, I mean, even they kind of have a more understanding of U.S. politics than we do a lot, because, unfortunately, I mean, the mainstream media is bought by 6 companies. I mean, I even brought that up once. I mean, one of them's Disney, the other's News Corp. I forgot what the other ones were, but, I mean, there was 4 others I forgot. But, I mean, it's I mean, how can you trust any of the news when a lot of them are just being backed by specific companies and corporations that are going to want to push a specific message that, you know, aligns with their company policies and stuff? He deleted so much, I think it was cussing me out. Yeah, maybe. I don't. He retracted even the other messages about being Trump lover, so I have no idea. I don't know. I didn't notice it. I just noticed the comments prior. I do have like the chat does stay up after the streams process, so I can probably see what it was all saying through the stream and pause. But I only remember just like 2 comments. This webpage is empty. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. A lot of YouTube channels don't really have anything in them just due to the fact that most people don't really use them. I mean, is there a way for me to get... for some reason, I can't click on the icons like I can on mobile on the live stream chat, so I don't know, whatever. But, yeah. I mean, it's good. I mean, but yeah, good Lord, Alex. I mean, what... I just want to see what else he has to say about that, because this is only like a 1-minute clip.
I have confirmed this with our law enforcement and Army sources. I've confirmed it with CIA sources that the Democratic Party uses MS-13 nationwide from Chicago to Dallas, Texas, from Austin, Texas.
And you have sources from the CIA, the military, and the... Where, bitch? Where? He just says that, you know. I mean, that's just like another one of his main points. He does. It's like, I got the documents right here. I got the documents. I mean, that's kind of like the rundown of what that is, basically. I mean, it's just like, I got the sources. The documents come from right here. And blah, 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 blah. It's like, whoa. It's like, whoa, bro. Quit doing that. Quit doing your supplements, because I think they're getting to you, man. I went to YouTube. Funny thing is, it was set up exactly like YouTube. Yeah, I mean, I even mentioned that when I pulled it up, because I was just like, whoa, a lot of this looks like YouTube, and that's kind of what I was hoping for. I mean, for a platform like that, so that's cool. I mean, I hope more people find that and notice it and go to it, because that's cool. That's cool shit.
To LA. They use them as their secret army, and they know Trump's got a war going against MS-13 and him.
I'm done. Okay. It's just the same shit. It's just like, oh my god, why? So, I got another, so I got like one more little thing here. One more little juicy thing. Which is kind of going back to the Santa Fe thing, but this is a student of the school who recorded some of the day, like couple days after the incident, talking with some of his friends about it. And I'm just gonna kind of skip to some of the people he was talking to, because one guy in particular was, I'm sorry, but just stupid. It was stupid. Like, we'll get to it. I mean, I'll point it out when he pops in. But here, I'll show what we got. Oh, well, I should probably flip it around. And that's the kid. And that was the kid there with the camera.
When I heard it was in the art room, I was freaking out because I was in my brother's class. I didn't know if he was okay or anything. I tried calling him and kept calling him, didn't answer. So I was really scared for him. He made it out though, he's alright. After I graduated...
He said he made it out, so... Yeah, his brother, I think, lived, so... I mean, that's good, at least.
I just wanted to leave, you know? Visit places, see places. It's such a small town, you know, you want to get out of it. You want to go, explore. But now I kind of just want to stay by my family for a while.
I felt really... I felt really scared, even though I knew you were okay, because I knew that you were in a building where people had died. So I can only imagine, like, for you, what that.
This kind of goes on for a while. I'm just gonna kind of skip. So here's our friend who makes some very stupid points.
I mean, we don't need gun control. What we need is...
Here, let's just...
I mean, we don't need gun control.
We don't need gun control. Yeah, we do. And, by the way, he goes in to support gun control.
What we need somebody to do better background checks on the people who are buying the guns.
That's called gun regulations, you fucking twit.
Dude,
I'm sorry, I really can. I mean, this dude. I mean, I'm sorry, man. Like, I mean, I couldn't have a serious discussion with this guy because of that point. It's like, come on. I mean, you have to fucking realize what you just said.
Maybe do some mental stable health checks or something.
Mental stable health checks. That's also regulations.
But people who say we need gun control, people who say
like you are, dude.
Need gun control, or that I'm not gonna call them idiots, but they're idiots, you know.
Oh, so you just called yourself an idiot? I mean, that's the main point I want to say, because that dude, come on, dude. Did you just seriously not hear what you just said? Dude. I mean, ugh. I mean, this is just another example of someone who's just, unfortunately, stupidly ignorant. And, I mean, well, not totally. I mean, it's just like, how, ugh, like, his brain hurts mine. Like, how did you literally come to that claim? Like, we don't need gun control, but we need regulations on it, background checks and mental health checks. That's called gun regulating and reforming, dude. Come on. You just called yourself an idiot too, by the way. So congratulations, dude. Congratulations. You played yourself. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. What are you doing, cat? What are you doing? You're falling down. Oh, crazy cat. What's his name? Oh, dude. I don't even know what your name is, bro. But, hold up.
Don't ever play yourself. Don't ever play yourself. Don't ever play yourself. Don't ever play yourself. Congratulations, you played yourself.
Congratulations, you played yourself. Sponsored by DJ Khaled. Oh god, the DJ Khaled documentary by H3H3 Productions. What the fuck? Is this serious? I can't even click it. Whatever. Yeah, I just needed that. You played yourself, bro. Come on.
But, like, if I put a gun right here, that gun is not going to go off and go on a massive killing spree. Now, if I...
Because it's on the floor, like you're making the example of here.
Pick that gun up. I'm saying I'm not going to, but if I pick that gun up and I point it at you and I shoot it, the gun didn't shoot you.
Kind of did. I mean, that's just another phallical argument. It's like, yeah, you pulled the trigger, which caused the gun to shoot a bullet into somebody. So, the gun needs an attention, or not attention. The gun needs like a backing of what it's going to do based on the person's actions. So I mean, a responsible gun owner will understand not to point a gun at someone and shoot it. But somebody going on a mass shooting spree is just going to use the gun and shoot everybody with it. So I mean, that is just so fallible because we know that people are. I mean, yeah. I mean, needed a human finger. That's all. Exactly. I mean, the gun just sit, like, let's say I had a gun just chilling right here. It's not going to do anything because it's a tool just sitting there, not having anything. And if I picked it up and just holding it around or whatever, it still would be. But now, that gun can potentially be used as a weapon. I mean, and essentially, I mean, the main premise of a gun is to be a weapon. But I mean, it can be used as a weapon against someone else instead of just something. Like, I could be hunting with that gun, or I could be, you know, just target shooting and just hunting practice targets in the middle of a forest or something, just, you know, to practice something like that. I don't know, you know, or sports shooting. I mean, a gun isn't essentially a tool. That is correct, but guess what? It's still going to shoot people because there's a person using that tool against somebody. And certain people don't need that tool. I mean, that's why we need background checks and mental background checks and, you know, just licensing for weapons. I mean, I wouldn't say we need like insurance and all this other bullshit, but a basic licensing system. I mean, and I've mentioned that multiple times before. I mean, because that's just like at least my main belief on gun control, at least, and gun reforms. So I wouldn't, because I always said in the past that I wouldn't outright ban weapons. I just think that if you, what am I about to say here? Like, if you did a lot of the other main regulations, like I've stated in the past, you probably wouldn't need to ban any weapons, and that's because it will be, you know, categorized for licensing and everything. So people who want to get that specific weapon just have to go up the tiers of the licensing system. And I think there also should be a wait period until you can get your next license to kind of prove that you're a responsible gun owner and everything like that. So I mean, I would set a process up to, while it might seem like just unnecessary bureaucratic shit, I mean, to a responsible gun owner, they shouldn't have to worry about that if they're going to be that responsible gun owner. And because, like I said, I don't think we need to outright ban weapons, because I think there are people responsible enough to have, you know, weapons like that. But unfortunately, we don't have a lot of those people. So hence why I would have such a license system and regulated system, so certain people who, like you just said, require responsibility on guns, like for those who are just outright irresponsible to mentally unstable to have one, or has a criminal background that will prove that they're not going to be responsible for it in the long run anyway, and have had a proven history of some violence, or, you know, what have you. So I mean, there's definitely criterias that should be met when you get a gun, and, you know, they're not hard. You know, I want to make them like absolutely impossible to get or whatever. I'll more or less leave that specific thing maybe up to the states, just depending on where you live. Because, for example, I mean, you know, people are probably going to react to guns differently, and also they're not, you know, necessary in places like, for example, downtown Portland. While if I were to go into Eastern Oregon, you know, there would be there could be more relaxed gun regulations for a lot of the towns there, just because it's you know, you're out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, people go hunting, people go shooting. That's just a thing, and it's part of culture. And I've done that before, and it's fun. You know, like you just said, we have to be responsible with it, and that needs to be pushed when we get guns. I mean, that's another thing. It's like when we get guns, it's just way too easy. What diagnosis would be listed for no gun? And for me, because I don't know much about like mental health and everything, I wouldn't know the full answer to that. But at least when it comes to criminal or like criminal background checks, a lot of it would have to be red flags on violence, domestic abuse, and like armed robberies and robberies, stuff like that. I mean, arson would probably be another red or yellow flag or something like that. I mean, I could go down the list. I mean, I wouldn't know specifically because I don't really know the total answer to that, especially when it comes to the mental health aspect. So I think that's more of like a case-by-case basis. Do you know how many there are? Shit would be a nightmare. Yeah, it is a very debatable issue, and also a very complicated issue, which I think is why it should be a debatable issue and everything. So, I mean, you know how many there are, should be nightmare, and then the levels. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, that's why I think it's just like such a big debate of how we can at least come to some conclusions on some things on the whole gun debate. Because, I mean, like I said, I want to outright ban guns because I just don't agree with that. But, I mean, there has to be at least some forms of regulations being passed. I mean, we just really generally cannot let this continue going on and on. And I think one way to try to get this debate more healthy and more principled is we definitely need to try to get the NRA money out of the political system. That's the main thing. Then we enter into our rights citizens. Yeah, I mean, well, I do have to kind of agree that the Second Amendment might be outdated. I still want to get rid of it. I would add clarity into it. Like, I mean, because it's a very short amendment, and there's not a lot to it. So, I don't know why I'm about to grind more when I already have shit grind up. But, I mean, because, I mean, you can easily interpret, like, the first part of it, like, with the well-regulated militia, and then the citizens have the right to bear arms. I mean, they're two essentially different little things, though, and people can easily interpret either or into specific or certain ways. And that's why I would say, you know, you can add an article to an amendment for clarity, I think. I mean, I think that, I don't know if that's actually happened specifically for any amendments where they had to add like a clarity to an issue or to a quote of the initial amendment, but for the Second Amendment, I probably would. I mean, I wouldn't get rid of it or anything, and I wouldn't say, like, this excludes, like, whatever, or certain weapons or whatever like that, or what have you. I mean, it will be more of the clarity of the individual right for a gun, which would be, it should be protected, but if you fall under, you know, like, if you're, like, too unstable mentally or have, you know, you know, just, I mean, like I said, it's a very hard issue to kind of explain, talk about because of how complicated it is. Because, I mean, even with that, you know, you wouldn't know how, we can't have clarity to healthcare man and go back to our amendments with these asshole charts. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, that's why we need to really root out a lot of this, a lot of the corruption out of the system, because we need to get rid of these assholes in charge. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole main point why we are having these political revolutions. And this little baby is just annoying the fuck out of me back here. Go over there. Go over there. And you did something to my bed, and I'm gonna find out what the fuck you did. Because I'm not too pleasantly happy about that. Yeah, sniff your little mystery spot. Your mystery spot, little bitch. Probably fucked my bed up. I came home, I didn't even realize that there was a little spot in my bed, but I looked over during this stream, and I'm like, oh, Chewy, you done fucked up now. Pretty baby. She is, though. I mean, she is. I mean, I cannot, like, be mad at that thing. I'd be mad at her forever. Oh, only pee. She did not shit on it, though there is a story I do have. It will dry. I mean, I think you'll learn pretty soon that cats have extremely smelly shits and pisses. I mean, even if it does dry, that's awful stench. It's gonna stay, essentially indefinitely. So now, I mean, my blanket was starting to smell bad because I get sweats at night, especially in the summer, and it sucks, and I hate it. And my blanket's starting to smell like shit. So I was meaning to change my sheets and wash them anyway, but bitch, now I have to do it because of your little furry ass. Annoying little prick. It's because Bandit's back. I mean, we got the fat cat back at the house. That's most likely why she's getting territorial again, and it's all. That's gonna be fun, reintroducing a cat that's been introduced 3 times already in this house. That was fun last couple days on that. Anyway, I got one more video here, and it's Tommy Lahren. It's also by White Ring Watch. The last video with Alex Jones was White Ring Watch, but this one is too. So this is just a treat. This is a lovely treat we are getting here. A lovely, lovely treat.
No one wants to see bullets tear through classrooms, but the cold hard truth is not a single proposed gun control measure could have stopped what happened at Santa Fe High School. The shooter, whose name is not...
Source, bitch? Source to that claim? Because I'm pretty sure they would.
Worth mentioning, used a shotgun and a revolver he took from his father. He didn't use...
Yeah, probably because he just left him around or let him know what the, like, password was to the gun case was. I mean, I don't know who the background of this kid, but I mean, I know enough that, you know, the father should probably be somewhat responsible because he, you know, had his guns somewhere accessible to his kid who obviously was not stable. So, I mean, I mean, that doesn't back the argument that advocating for gun control doesn't, like, what? I mean, those two don't, there's a false equivalence, honestly. It's like Ice Queen and Frozen. Let it go, let it go. Gotta let it go, logical talking points, let it go. I'm gonna stop now.
He was a so-called assault rifle. He didn't legally purchase the guns he used. He's underage.
Yeah, and that's why his father probably should have had a gun safe that was locked and secured his weapons. And yes, the shotgun isn't technically an assault weapon, but if you're using it to kill people, that's an assault weapon. I mean, a knife is an assault weapon when you're assaulting and killing people with it. Same goes with a pistol, same goes with an AK-47, same goes with a shotgun or a hunting rifle. I mean, come on, bitch. You have to know that. You have to know that. I mean, come on. You're using a weapon, I mean, pistol, shotgun, whatever, to assault with. That's considered an assault weapon. I think, I mean, hold up. I mean, the whole argument about what an assault weapon is so like, from a friend, stay with your instrument. Vocals not your highlight. Sorry. Well, I'm actually singing in some songs in my music class. So, and if if our teacher records them, because he did last term, then I'll upload them and let you guys hear. But oh no, hey, at least I'm practicing those songs. I mean, at least I'm practicing. There's music behind it. Oh God. Oh no, prepare for cringe, boy. But I don't even know what I was gonna say to that ridiculous argument. We'll just continue to listen on that.
Also had a pressure cooker and pipe bombs. Please tell me what gun laws could have prevented this. None.
Maybe a requirement to have your gun locked in a safe or in a secure location when you're not using it. I mean, that would probably be a gun regulation that would work. Maybe licensing. Maybe better youth counseling at schools and in the public sector, so maybe we can make sure that kids who are maybe a little fringe or, you know, not mentally stable due to whatever situation can get some counseling and help for that. I mean, that won't correlate specifically towards gun regulation, but I mean, that would help with the situation. And what is this fucking American flag shirt you're wearing? Like, good God.
So why then is the left so quick to blame this on law-abiding gun owners and the NRA? What did...
Because the NRA is bought, or is buying politicians to support... do I even want to go on with this? I just want to continue to hear what she has to say. I mean, oh my lord.
We have to do with this? Nothing. The fact is, if you're demanding more gun control, you're admitting the hundreds of relevant gun laws on the books don't work.
What? Ignard.exe has stopped working. What? That makes no sense. If you're advocating for gun control, you're admitting gun laws don't work. You're pushing for them. So, you're not... Oh my God. She broke my brain. I regret even continuing. I'm done. Those are all my videos, but... Oh God. That hurt my head. That hurt my head. Clown. Yeah. That was just... Like, that... like, I don't even know what to say to even begin to combat that. It's just, like, what? Like, I'm still trying to get, what? You're saying that if someone's trying to advocate for gun control, they're admitting that the gun control laws already on the books don't work? That makes no sense. You're adding more to help, you're adding more for, what regulations are already on the books, and we don't really have that many in the first place. So, and to be frank, also, sure, there might be a couple that don't work because there's loopholes with that, because there's politicians that are bought by the NRA that, you know, watered down these bills due to, you know, to the light Democrats, you know, just, you know, compromising instead of actually, you know, being principled in their ideas. I mean, oh, fuck. Rob Dyke just uploaded Why Would You Put That on the Internet Season 3. Oh, I love this. Oh, I love these episodes. That's why I was retracted. I'm hurt. My brain physically hurts right now. I'm not even kidding. Like, I have a headache trying to even think about what this is. Oh my god. How do you make that point? Like, that's just so... It just makes literally no sense. It just makes no sense. Like, how did you... Oh my god. Oh, man. Oh. I think we need... oh, man. Just, oh, that hurts. That just hurts. That just genuinely hurts me. It will be okay. I know. I'll be okay. I'll be okay. Whoa, Viceland. This is something from a year ago, but it says stoned bees make weed-infused honey. Now that just sounds like a happy note to end on, because I know I don't want my headache anymore. I just want it to go away. I mean, oh... I'm not gonna get over that. I'm not gonna get over that. I don't think I'll be able to. I think I think that's just gonna haunt me for like a very long time. Oh. That was just so hurtful to my own intelligence. Like, I'm pretty sure I lost a few IQ points just letting that just soak in my brain a little bit. Like, like, how do you come to such a stupid conclusion? Like, I mean, it's okay if you are very pro-gun and have that position, and you are generally against gun regulations. Like, if you do have that position and you back it up with your own principled beliefs into that reasoning, I at least can have respect for that. But that was just like, what? We'll be alright in the morning after good night's sleep. Tell that to the World War I veterans that have PTSD from shell shock. Did they recover after a good night's sleep? I'm just kidding. I mean, oh my god. I mean, I'll get over it, but, oh, that hurts. That hurts. That's still hurting my head right now. But let's hear about these stoned bees while I load up to stone myself. Like, Tommy Lara needs like some weed. She needs to just be smoked the fuck out. California rolled sushi blunts. Oh, come on, Viceland, stop. Just stop showing me this stuff. I'm gonna want to just go down the rabbit hole.
Ain't smoke for that?
Yeah, we can
shush
with that, yeah.
Let's walk. Whoa.
We got some banana OG cannabis in that smoker, and we're gonna use that to smoke those bees and keep them from stinging us.
Smoking them bees with that cannabis.
It's a brood's nest, right?
Yeah.
So the brood nest is
Carrying
about
on
right here in
biz.
the middle, where they're making babies. That's all they're doing is just making
Wow.
babies, day in and day out. That queen's laying 1,500 eggs a day.
Damn.
And and bees die every 30 days. So they have high rotation in here.
I didn't know that.
It's one of the strongest structures ever built in the world.
The honeycomb.
Yeah, the honeycomb. It's amazing how strong that structure is.
So, like, how do you know when you want to harvest honey from it?
When it's completely capped and sealed. See all that honey that's uncapped right there? See that honey that's uncapped?
Oh, yeah.
I can just take these frames of honey and go inside with them, right? And then extract it from there. You guys want to take this one?
Oh, yeah, pretty good looking honeycomb.
Oh, man, that looks beautiful.
Taking that inside his house? Jesus.
Just literally just cut it right out.
Oh, okay. I was near the end anyway.
And I'm just going to literally just cut it up. And then we're going to take it and we're just going to pour it over the cheesecloth, and the honey will seep through the wax.
I'll speed it up a little bit.
Honey.
Twist it and bring it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks good.
Oh, that does look delicious.
You know what I call this? Liquid gold.
Well, like, in a way, this is a lot
That looks like liquid gold, yeah.
You're leaving behind all the stuff that you don't want, which is this wax.
This is the next part, huh?
Yeah, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to infuse
beautiful bud
cannabis into coconut oil, and so it's actually going to infuse into the fat of the coconut oil.
That just goes right in there, huh?
Yeah, it just goes right on top.
So do we have to mix that into the weed at all? Or
No, so like once we put this into the hot water, it'll just melt through, and then just cap this up, and then we'll just drop it into the water.
Wow.
We'll just leave that in there for 2.5 hours, I'll say, just to make sure we get a very thorough infusion, and then we'll be ready to go and strain all the flour material out of it.
Wow.
See, it's melted fully and blended with the weed here. This is fully melted, so I'm just going to dump it here through our strainers. So we have a wire mesh strainer and then cheesecloth on top of it, and I'll just make sure we catch all this plant matter. Once I filter this stuff and get the actual oil, then I will take the oil and add it to our honey.
Wow. So that's coconut laced cannabis oil.
Man, that is beautiful.
Wow.
I like seeing this bear get filled up. It's like he's getting close.
Right to the top.
Gorgeous.
Man,
beautiful. That's beautiful. See, that's what you'll get with legalization. Just to give it some time. I mean, I can't even enter dispensaries and stuff, but that is just so beautiful. That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, see, you don't want to see it. Shame. Shame. I'm just kidding. But hey, I mean, one day, hopefully, the whole world will be able to experience marijuana honey bears. Marijuana honey bears. That's what I call that shit. But yeah, I'm gonna smoke this last little bit, and then I'm gonna actually see my grandmama from Texas, and drop her back off at where she's staying at, which is at my brother's house, and then gonna see mom for a little bit more time too. So after this little smoke sesh, I will be on my way, if he hasn't left it already. Because earlier, I mean, this is like the first time Dad's actually been, like normally whenever we're getting ready to do stuff, he's the last one to be ready and go and leave, but this time it's me. I'm passing down an unfortunate hereditary moment of family where he used to be the slow one, now I'm the slow one. It's like my life don't stop. My life don't stop. Yeah. But damn. I wish I could have done this while that's why I hope eventually I'll get that desktop and podcast will be going, because then I can just do this and let a video play instead of just silently watching me load up a bowl off in the corner, like not directly in view. There we go. Teaser. Oh yes, a teaser. I actually, one of my friends, I think I saw one of the other chats on one of my past streams, says if he wanted me to get, buy me a desktop. I'm like, don't tease me like that, bro. It's just like, I mean, I wouldn't know what to say if he legitimately did, because he would not only just be helping a friend, but he would be helping the channel grow, and also actually become a thing of some sort. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, if he does that, I will quite literally be indebted to him for a very long time. So, I mean, I don't know. That's why I want to meet up with all my friends to talk about it, so we can see what we can get going with it, hopefully. Hopefully maybe about like tomorrow or something. Alright. Choked my throat there for a sec, but not a little water helps. Alright, man. Well, I don't know when my next stream will be. Probably tomorrow, like I said. When I meet up with all my friends, I'll probably see if we can do a stream after that. No. Yes. But, yeah, man. No finger. Unfortunately, it must. I mean, I've been going on for over 2 hours. I mean, I've been on way longer than that, but damn. Didn't expect to go on that long. But hopefully the other guy comes back at some point. Tunes to watch me, because, I mean, I'd like to, you know, discuss some stuff with him, too, at some point. Because, I mean, I wanted to, but I just never got around to it just because I already had a list of things going. Plus, I would have been able to go through with talking about that. Yeah. But, hey, I mean, that's just a little seed being planted right there, so who knows. But, anyway, man, I'm going to make sure he doesn't leave without me, so I'm going to head out now, but peace out, and I'll be seeing you in the next one, my friend, and hopefully that'll be soon. Now you're getting the death finger, bitch, yeah. I'm just kidding, you're not no bitch. You're one of my loyals. Dedicated. Boom, bitch.